how to deal with the inevitable. Usually, the inevitable things are, if we actually stress about them, they are not as good as we would want them to be. So, for example, right now in my situation, I think 15 minutes ago I was driving a car, right? Because I'm doing these driving tests, and you got some theories that you need to go to, and then you got some practice rides. And I was riding with my instructor, and it's a female, and that instructor is, or she is, extremely nice. She's really polite, she tries to explain everything to me. But then there's the second instructor, and let's say he's complete opposite of her. He's bald, he's a fat ass, he's really angry, and he never explains to anything, he only yells and screams. And now, just few minutes ago, when I was planning my next practice lesson, or like practice driving lesson, right? The teacher, the female, actually put me with this dude. So now the inevitable thing is, basically the next Tuesday, in 4 days, I'm gonna need to spend 90 minutes in car with this douchebag. And this is really inevitable. I can't call her and tell her or beg her, oh please, 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 I want to drive with you, I don't want to drive with him and stuff. I mean, this is unfortunately not how it goes, and so I need to deal with it. But how can you deal with it, actually? Or how I will deal with it? Because I've had 2 practice driving lessons with him so far, and every single one was a fucking disaster. I'm not saying I'm driving perfectly, it was my 7th lesson, right, still, so I'm really a newbie so far, but hey, that's really not the point. The point is I make a lot of mistakes, but they are not as crucial as I would just fucking run over some, I don't know, children on the street, or just, smash the car somewhere. These are just the mistakes, like I would forget to just get the blinker, I don't know how you call it in English, just this light, the signal light that I'm gonna turn left, and I would just do it. I would actually press it, right? And I would show where I'm going, but I would do it lately. I wouldn't do it in time, or like with the time reserve that I would under perfect conditions need. So he would just yell at me for another fucking 20 seconds until I'm gonna do another fucking stupid mistake like this, and then he would just shout at me about that shit. And I mean, it is really pretty annoying. And now, as I heard that I'm gonna have the next driving lesson with him, I almost shit my pants, and I really, it basically hit me in the stomach, and like I got this like, oh shit, this like stress, not attack, but like this stress hit, and I would be like, oh shit, like I'm gonna just drive with him again, why? I'm not gonna learn anything, because I'm just gonna be in stress, shaking like this in a car, I will have my hands on the wheel and I would be just shaking like this all the fucking time, and I'm just gonna be nervous, and he's just gonna be yelling at me, and I'm not gonna get anything from it, and he's just gonna be still upset. So why should I need to drive with him? But hey, still, this is my situation, here we are, and this is what I fucking need to do. I can't rebook it, I can't reschedule it, I mean, or there's nothing I can do with it. So this is inevitable thing. And usually when we think about the inevitability, we think about that, we think about all of these things, right? Some tragic stories, or like your parents are gonna die, maybe your brother is gonna die, maybe you are gonna die, obviously you are gonna die, definitely all of these people are gonna die. No, it's not a matter of maybe, I meant to say, but I meant to not say that, I wanted to say like it's fucking inevitability, right? It's certain. But here's the thing, usually we don't stress about it that much. A lot of times we, as a normal people, casual everyday people, we forget that we're gonna die someday, and we think like we are immortal, which, well, I don't know, it depends on your whole philosophy to life, but unfortunately, or fortunately, it's not the case. We're gonna die at one point. to me, honestly, I really love living, but still, hey, I wouldn't probably want to live here forever. But this is not really a topic for today's video, right? But the topic is, we think about all of these catastrophic scenarios and all of these bad things. But what we should also keep in mind, which is an inevitability, are the situations like this. If you are in school, you're definitely gonna deal with some tests. If you are in a car, if you are riding a car, you're gonna deal with some morons sooner or later. If not today, then the other day. And if not the other day, then basically in the maybe next week or in 2 months, I don't know. But you gonna sooner or later run, especially if you drive regularly, you're just gonna run onto some dighead or into some badly repaired road, right? Or if you are at work, you're gonna run on, at some point usually in your life, on a fucked up bad asshole colleague. And with all of these things, you need to come in peace with. With all of these things, you need to come with peace, I mean. And now, how to actually get it. And by the way, these are also inevitabilities, okay? So I'm not talking about how to deal with that. This is not even a fucking topic of today's video. The topic of today's video are these more common, everyday life, casual life situations, right? So the first thing we need to actually in order to actually cope with these things, or kind of get through them, we need to firstly realize what is actually holding us back or what we are actually stressing about. So the first thing would be like, yeah, like I obviously know what I'm stressed about. Like I'm just gonna describe my situation, you as a model example, but you can like just to explain the point. It doesn't need to be only with the car lessons, right? But in my case, the driving lessons, when I got this stress hit, when I got this like fuck moment, I was basically like, shit, I don't want to drive with him. But then you need to ask yourself, this is obvious reasons, but then you need to ask yourself why. Okay, so why don't I want to drive with him? Because he yells all the time, because I never learn anything from him, because he never tries to explain anything to me, that instructor, right? And usually I'm still new, I don't really know, I'm not some pro, I'm not like really so used to driving a car, so I still need to, pay attention on mechanicals of the car, like the wheel, and then the gas and brakes and stuff. And on top of that, I actually need to keep in mind really vividly all of the fucking rules and where I can turn and where I can't turn, or who comes first at the fucking crossroads and shit and stuff. And okay, so these are like the 4 things. It's gonna be really complicated. He's never gonna tell me or explain me anything. I'm never gonna learn, and it's gonna really suck. I'm gonna be shaking all the time. Okay, so these are the things why I am nervous. Really, in long story short, pretty much these are all of the scenarios or the main things why I'm stressed about this. Then, what we can do about this is, once you actually acknowledge it, what I do, I'm a big fan of journal. I don't know if you ever saw me again on YouTube, but pretty much I think I mentioned journaling in almost every single video. But hey, I'm really a huge fan of journaling. I got my journal right here. I will just show you. Alright, so here's my first journal. It is written in Czech, I think. Yeah, it's from the last month. Now, I got the second journal, also from the last month. Then I got this journal, which was from the February, I think, or March. And now I got this journal, which is my current one, to which I basically write everything. So, like currently, and I'm almost done with that exercise book, right? So, usually in 2 months, I guess, somewhat 2 months plus minus, I basically written on all of these pages. And hear me out now. So what I would do, this wasn't really that important. I'm just like, I don't know why I even showed you that, but just to prove the point, like I really like journaling, and I'm not only full of shit and full of talking, but no doing. But then, hey, to actually give you the advice that I wanted, or like finish the thought, that's basically, hey, if you actually now know plus minus all of these things that make you stressed and that make you feel bad about some inevitable thing that's gonna come sooner or later, then journal about it. Because maybe, in my case, I have 5 reasons why I don't want to drive with that douchebag next week. In your case, it might be 2 reasons, 3 reasons, maybe 10 reasons, I don't fucking know. But just sum them up and write them down. If you write them down, man, or girl, I don't know who's watching me, I would suppose some dudes watch me, but once you write them down, you're gonna see that your rational mind is slowly getting or gaining more space in your mind, or how to actually say it. You are becoming more rational, and you start to be less and less emotional about it. So if you fear something and you just, write it down, after some time you might actually see like, hey, I'm not as stressed as I was. Hey, these thoughts aren't as fearful or frightening as they used to be even a few minutes back. What happened? These are like, there's dust and, some, I don't know, dirt flying in the air. Don't actually pay attention to that. That's not important. But, right, you get the point. So you just put all of these things aside, and it allows you to, emotions aside, and you take these things apart, and it actually helps you to then think rationally about it. And once you think rationally about it, then you might actually get to the next step, which is you're gonna clearly see the truth about it. In my case, the emotional side is, oh, I don't want to be there, I'm just gonna be shaking all the time, I'm just not gonna be able to do anything, I will just crash the car, I will kill someone, I will run over someone, oh my god, he's gonna be yelling in my ear for the whole 90 minutes, no, I don't want to do this, and you're just like, and I am just like completely out of my mind. But once I fucking journal about it, as soon as I got home, I got into the cold shower, that's why my haircut looks how it looks, and basically now I started to record this video, so I had no time to journal about it, but I will do that right after I'm gonna finish recording. So then I would obviously journal about it, and I've been in this point a lot of times, so now I know what will come, and I will come in peace with it more, and I will calm myself a bit more, and then I will actually observe it and say, okay, so I need to drive with this douchebag, but it's gonna be for 1 day, and it's gonna be for 90 minutes, and before these 90 minutes, I'm gonna do my stuff, and I'm gonna go, at that day, before these 90 minutes, I have it at 9 a.m., at 9 a.m. o'clock, so if I'm gonna actually motivate myself and wake up at 5 a.m., from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., I got all of the free times. I got basically 4 hours, and I can just spend them as I want to. Then I will have 90 minutes of discomfort, and then the rest of the day is gonna be clear, and I will just not need to think about it more, or like it will be done. So in these all 24 hours, counting that I sleep for 9 hours, then I have 15 hours, I think. 15 hours. Then I got still 15 hours of free time, and of basically like the conscious hours that I'm awake during the day. And out of these 15 hours, 15 hours, it is basically 600 and 30, so 630 minutes, I think. Maybe correct me in the comments or I will correct myself. But usually 630 minutes, and from these 630 minutes that I have for a day, only 90 minutes, only 90 of them, I'm just gonna spend in a car with this idiot. So this is the next thing you're gonna realize. You're gonna become more calm, more rationalized, or rational, and you're gonna calm yourself and get rid of this stress and all of these emotions. If you are a beginner in journaling, it might, or even more advanced in journaling, still it might not cure you completely from this. You will still feel somewhat more emotional and stressed and stuff, but it's not gonna be as bad as it would be, right? Or as it was before that. I never feel. What I can definitely tell you is I never feel worse after journaling. Never, okay? So after that, the beginner stage is basically, well, all of these stages are just basically done, and then there's the last stage, and I'm not as smart to actually come up with this thing myself. I'm gonna straight up tell you, I got this idea from Stanislav Gazdik. It's basically ex-French Foreign Brigade, I think it is how it is called in English. Guy from Czech Republic, but he served in the French military, like in top-notch units in French military, and he was there for 10 to 15 years, I think, which is really fucking admirable. And he basically, I saw a podcast with him, and he basically said, explained there, the podcaster told him or asked him, and how do you deal with bad situations in life, or with something you need to do, or like not need to do, but with some fears and some things that might actually come. And he would just say, like, sit there and look at him, and he would just reply, I choose to not think about them. And I'm like, well, that's pretty smart, right? And he explained it more deeply, and he said basically, I don't think about the bad things, because what I get from thinking about the bad things, I get nothing from it, and I only feel worse. But on the other hand, whereas I can actually think about the good things, I can think about my family, about my future life, about my YouTube channel, about my business, or simply about anything, or simply just about that today is a new day and sun still went up and sun is still shining and still I'm here breathing. And still I can think about this, like I am still blessed with another day on this planet Earth and living. And this is basically what then we need to do. We need to go on with our own lives. Once we journal about it, we acknowledge it on a paper, we acknowledge we feel some way, but we don't then act after that onto our emotions, and we act on a rational mind, because journal actually rationalize our behavior, right? So then we can think clearly, and then we just go on with our life and consciously choose to get rid of these things, in our head, and just go on with our life. Give a call to our grandma that we haven't seen for 2 months. Go talk to our siblings, go talk to our parents, go edit a video, go study, go exercise, go shooting, basically go doing anything else except just fucking worrying all the time about some bad things that are gonna come or might come. But this video was about inevitabilities, so about the things that will come. Hey, this is it. This is how I basically deal, and how I'm actually gonna deal, because now I'm just, have the journal on the table, and I will definitely get to it after I'm just gonna finish the recording. But this video was just about how I cope and how I deal with stress and with the inevitable things that I'm going to sooner or later need to deal with my life. Deal with in my life. So that's it. Thanks for giving me so much of your time and attention. I really appreciate it. I know time is the most valuable thing, and you decided to spend almost 21 minutes looking at me, or watching me, and listening to me. So if you actually got something from this video, and if you feel just a tiny bit smarter, or with some slightly different perspective on life after watching my video, leave me a like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, definitely tell other people maybe in the comments also, and me. I read pretty much every single comment, and then tell me how you deal with stress. If you maybe have some different opinion or a different philosophy or some different idea that I might actually implement, let me know, and see you hopefully in the next one.